Hey y'all, it's been a hot minute, but get into it. It's grad season, so I thought I would pop in and give y'all a life update. So, first things first, your girl is graduating in a few weeks. And honestly, if y'all want to pop up to graduation, you can. May 13th, 3 o'clock, Greensboro Coliseum. Like Silk said, be there or be square. So rectangle, be square. No, for real. I'm so excited. I truly have felt like this day would never come. There are a lot of moments that felt really, really low. Like if y'all watched my 2 videos on my college journey, there were moments where I felt like I was in the pit. And then it's just moments where I felt like I was out there in the deep. Like, and then it just turned around to where I'm really just like, my whole mantra is I'm just out here trusting God. Like that's literally the only thing that's been getting me through, because if I trust in myself, nothing's gonna come of that, because there's only so much I can do in my own strength. But anywhom, let's get into the ins and outs of senior year. So first things first, my internship, phenomenal. I just finished that up on Tuesday. Today is Friday, and it was truly one of the best experiences of my life. Like, I did a lot of hard work there, and I'm so grateful for it. I made a lot of great connections and people I hope that will be in my life for forever, because everyone there is just so amazing. They're so thoughtful, they're so considerate and helpful. And if I wasn't going to grad school, I 100% would apply and work there, because I love the people there so much. I love the culture of the place. Even the supervisors and the higher ups, everyone is just so intentional about their jobs. And I love to see people that are intentional with what they do. Now, I think y'all heard me say I'm going to grad school. So let's talk about the grad school application process. Originally, I was going to apply to Western Carolina, ECU, University of South Carolina. There was another school. Oh, I was going to apply to the joint MSW program at NCAT and UNCG. And so I missed the date for Western Carolina's advanced standing. And I was like, oh, okay. Guess I won't be applying there. USC was my first choice back in high school. So I finished that application and I was like, boom, shaboom, it's done. And then, like, the beginning of February, I was like, yo, let me look and see what schools are in New York. I'm really trying to go to New York. This was also when I randomly bought a plane ticket, because I was like, I'm going to go spend my best friend's birthday with her. So I started looking up schools and I decided, oh, Columbia University, that sounds fancy. And then I look into the program, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to be there. So I decided in February to apply to a school whose application was originally due February 15th. I was in New York 2 days before the application was due. Your girl didn't have nothing done. Like, nothing, not a zilch. All I had turned in were my recommendations, because I had already had them working on that from another school. And so then it's coming down to the wire. I'm working my butt off. I'm like, I'm working my tail off. And then they send out an email extending it a month. So I'm like, okay, God, I see you. And so then I put in the work. Like, I really put in the work, and I applied and got my application in by March 15th. So then I got accepted into USC by, like, when did I get that acceptance? March 28th. And I literally was like, oh, I'm not doing any more essays. I got one in the hole. That all you need is one, because you can only go to one place, right? So that was my mindset. I was like, who needs to be applying to all these schools? Who needs to be paying for all these applications? Y'all know you got to pay every time you want your transcript sent to a school. Yeah, you got to pay. You already paid to go to school and learn, and you gotta pay to send your transcripts. It's a scam. It's sent electronically. You ain't even gotta pay for no stamp, baby. That's an email. I digress. Anyways, so so I got that letter back, and I'm like, I'm on cloud nine, like, cause I'm like, yo, I got into grad school. Like, that's a huge feat all in itself. If you know my journey, you know my GPA struggle, you know I'm climbing the ladder. It was a lot. So to get accepted into any grad school program, I'm like, this is phenomenal. I'm gonna be a gamecock. Whatever they do, I never learned a symbol. I don't know. So fast forward, I'm trying to figure out when I'm gonna hear from Columbia University, because in my mind I'm like, yo, I really want to be in New York. I need a change of scenery. I don't know if I want to be in the South anymore. I love the South. I'm probably gonna come back. I'm like, the South. It's just the South. I don't know. So I started, like, I called them. I'm like, hey, it's saying online that you aren't getting my stuff. Like, you haven't received all my things, but I know that everything's been sent in, and it's showing here, da-da-da. So I asked the lady when I'm going to hear back. She tells me the date. The date was, basically, it was going to be Wednesday. This past Wednesday, so the 26th. And so I'm like, okay, cool. But then I started calculating, and I had to respond to USC by April 28th. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's cutting it down to the wire. So then I'm like, low-key panicking this whole week. And so I do what I do, and I begin to be pushy. Because, sometimes you got to work for what you want. So on Wednesday, I called Columbia University, the admissions office. And I'm like, hey, you got your sweet voice on. I have to let another school know my decision. You guys are my first choice, and I'd really love to be at Columbia, but I need to, like, know a timeline when I'm going to be able to get my decision letter. Is there any way I can get it by this Friday? I have to let the other school know by Friday. And so the lady tells me, she's like, oh, I will work on that. I'm going to try to get it out to you. I'm going to try to get it out to you tomorrow, meaning Thursday. But if not tomorrow, Friday at the latest. So, okay, Thursday comes. I wake up out of my sofa, check my phone. It's not there. I'm like, okay. So I'm holding on. I'm like, okay, Jamie, don't call. Be still. Like, first things first, Wednesday night, I sent out to the prayer groups. I'm like, hey, I need y'all to pray that they'll come through with this decision and a fat check for me. Because I don't just want an acceptance. I want money. I want them to pay for me to go to school. So everyone's like, we're in agreement. Like, I'm going to get this information by Friday. Friday comes. I wake up. No letter. I wake up because I had to do admission and orientation for USC. And University of South Carolina, by the way, not Southern California. Country girl. We from the South down here. Anyways, so I was like, okay, I haven't heard anything. Let me call them back at noon. I called them at noon. No answer. I called at 2 o'clock on my way to work. No answer. At this point, I'm like, okay. They see my name on the caller ID. They don't want to talk to me. I know it's like OD. It's probably literally not that. But that's how your mind starts thinking. And so I use my friend's phone at work. I'm like, yo, let me use your phone. Let me call them. That's like at like 4 o'clock, 4:15 actually. I call up her phone. They answer on the second ring. I'm like, hey, it's Jamie Pemberton again. By this point, I didn't even hear her typing. I think she knew it was me, because she looked up my stuff real fast. And she was like, oh, they're checking your credits at this point. It's a good sign right now that it'll be close to being done. I'll call you back in 30 minutes or so and let you know that everything's completed. 30 minutes passes. I'm like, I don't bite my nails, but if I was a nail biter, I would have bit my nails. But I think it's disgusting to bite your nails. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my gosh, can they come on? Can she come on? And I'm like, okay, should I call again? Because it's been 30 minutes. They about to close. It's almost 5 o'clock. She hasn't called me back. I ain't got no email. And Gina is like, just wait. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'm just going to hold out. So now I'm over here like, I'm gonna wait on you. Like, that's playing, that one part is looping over in my mind over and over. And I'm like, God, I'm waiting, but can you give me a hint? Can you give me a sign, please? So fast forward like an hour, we go to Buffalo Wild Wings. We're chilling. I'm actually on my phone, like, while waiting on the food. I'm looking, or I had finished eating, so I'm on my phone looking and scrolling, and I'm looking for apartments in Columbia, South Carolina. And then I just like swiped out of Google. This was at 6:22, and I opened my email app, and I had an email from them, and they're like, your Columbia School of Social Work decision letter is sent. And that email came at 6:19, so I'm like, you know. I can't. So I open it. I'm like, I'm terrified. I don't know where to look. I don't want to look. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Gina's like, girl, just open it. I text Jasmine. I'm like, I'm finna freak out. Jasmine's like, I'm gonna throw up. And I'm like, girl, me too. Then I opened the email. I didn't even read the whole thing. I have yet to read the whole thing. But all I saw was, we are pleased to congratulate you on your acceptance. When I tell you, I could have tore up in that Buffalo Wild Wings. I said, oh! Ah! And so, yeah, moral of the story is, keep going. Have faith in God, but do your part. Because this came, I mean, obviously I got here because of my faith and my trust in God, of God being a restorer of time and a redeemer of the years. But I put in the work as well. Like, I did my part. You know, you don't get accepted to a school just because they like you. I wish. If I'm a great person, people would love me. But, you know, you got to put in your work, and you got to be diligent, and you got to go after what you want. You have to want something. And that's the thing. Like, I think I had mentioned before, like, I was at a point where I didn't want to be in school. But then I got back to where I wanted to do something. I wanted to be something with my life, something more than what I am now. And, like, I'm so grateful to be in this position that I'm in now, because I know that there are so many lives that I'm going to be able to touch and change. Not even just with my degree, but just me being in certain spaces, because there are so many lives that we touch when we're not working in our respective fields. And I'm just so excited to see what God's going to do in this next year in my life. Like, thank y'all to anyone who has followed my journey. Like, I'm so grateful for everybody. I'm so grateful to be in this space. I'm so grateful just for the life I'm living now. And yeah, that's it. Peace, love, and hair grease. We going to the Ivies, baby.